Welcome to Chicago. My name is Brian Key. I'm the exec chef here at Steak 48 in Chicago. Today we're going to go in my kitchen and walk you through some of my favorite dishes here at the restaurant. Let's go. Okay, dish one we're going to do here at Steak 48 Chicago is Chef Brian's au gratin potatoes. I'm going to walk you through that real quick. I got potatoes already peeled, sitting in water so they don't change color. I got my onions already cut, my cheeses. I got smoked Gouda and a provolone mozzarella mix, heavy cream, salt, pepper. So what we're going to do first is I have my pan here. I'm going to put a little non-stick pan spray in here. It'll be easier if we get the potatoes out. And then what we're going to do is use this little awesome device. It's called a mandolin. They do sell these at home. They work great, but they're very dangerous. If you don't pay attention to what you're doing, you can do some serious damage with this blade. So I'm going to slice the potatoes super thin. I'm going to gauge the right thickness. They are adjustable, so we're looking for something about like that. So this is the part where you got to be careful and focus on what you're doing, because it'd be really easy to slip and slice your finger open. I've seen people do it. Now is not the time to be Facebooking, Instagramming, talking on your phone. So we're going to slice all the potatoes like this. And then what you're going to do is you're going to start layering them in the pan. There's no rhyme or reason to the layering, but you want to keep it even. So if you don't go even all the way up, your potatoes will be lopsided, or you'll end up with like a big divot in the middle. So you go nice and even, just barely overlapping them. And just fill in all the gaps. Like I said, there's no rhyme or reason to how they go in. So I got the first layer down. I'm going to do a little bit of salt, white pepper. You can use black pepper if you want. I use white so the little specks don't show. Our onion. Some cheese. A little bit of cream. And then we're going to go to the next layer. Same thing. You're just going to continue to build this till the dish is all the way to the top. Once it's to the top, you're going to bake it about 350 degrees for about an hour and 15 minutes. The magic of the food in the kitchen here. We have one already complete coming out of the oven right now. We're going to bring that over here, and we're going to cut it up. Finish it with some cheese. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut a nice piece of au gratin out of this. Again, you don't have to cut and serve this. You can serve it in this pan. Ideally, if you're doing these at home, you want to do them the day ahead of time. Let them refrigerate. That way they can set up and cool down. Then you can just slowly reheat it the next day. So I'm going to try and guesstimate the size of my serving dish here. Hopefully I got the right size. So now from the middle, take your spatula, pop it out. Look at that, nice layered. You can see the layers of cream, cheese, all that goodness. Perfect fit as usual. And then what we're going to do is we're going to top it with just a little more cheese, because what isn't awesome than more cheese? You're probably wondering how I held that in my hand at 350 degrees. It's a kitchen secret, one I can't tell you. And then we're going to take it over here to our broiler. Make sure the cheese is evenly coated at the top. And then we're going to slide that under there to get nice and golden brown. As you can see, the cheese is starting to bubble. Let's take a quick look here. Oh yeah, golden brown, yum yum goodness. Let's get this side just a little bit more, and then we'll be good to go. And that's it. Chef Brian's au gratin potatoes. Ooey gooey, yummy goodness, cheese, cream, rich potatoes. Steak 48 Chicago. Next dish up on The Steak 48 signature series here is obviously steak. Here I got a couple 12-ounce prime New Yorks. People should know what prime steaks are nowadays with the internet and Food Network and all that other stuff. But if you don't know, it's the top 2% all beef in the country. It's the way it's raised, the way it's bred, region specific, breed specific. Prime refers to the amount of marbling in the meat. So prime has the most marbling. What is marbling? Marbling's fat. What is fat? Fat is flavor. If you cook the steaks down, that fat melts, lends flavor to meat. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these New Yorks, coat them in our signature 48 rub. Do all sides. And then we're going to go straight onto a 600 or 1600 degree broiler. Just right here. Boom. And then we're going to let that do its magic. Okay, now we're going to give our steaks a little quarter turn here. Let them go another few minutes and then we'll flip them. And our steaks are nicely charred, perfectly cooked. What we're going to do now is we're going to pull them off and let them relax, or rest as we call it in the business. We'll come back to these after they've rested and slice them. Why do you rest them? You want to let all the juices do their thing. If you cut into these right now, they're going to bleed all over the place. They're going to cook up a little bit and not be what you want. You want to let them sit. Let those juices go back to where they belong. We call it resting the meat. Plus, there's another cool term in the biz called carryover cooking. So even though you took these off your heat source, all the heat that's built up on this steak, it's still going to cook a little bit. You know, you can think of it like going into your shower. You get up in the morning, turn the shower on. You don't get hot water right away. You got to let it, heat up for a few seconds. Same thing with steaks. You take them off the heat, they're still going to upcook just a little bit. So, all right, next dish we're going to bang out real quick. It's mac and cheese that we do here at Steak 48. Everybody loves mac and cheese. It's one of those popular comfort foods. We upscale it just a little bit and we use some really cool stuff like some fresh Alaskan king crab and some sweet succulent rock shrimp. So to get rolling here, I'm going to season these up real quick. A little bit of salt and white pepper. Get both sides, mop up all the stuff, the yum-yums there. A little salt on that. A little bit of pepper on that. That's ready to go. Let's switch out gloves real quick. So here I have my Alfredo base. It's just some heavy cream we've reduced with some cheese. Finish it with a little bit of egg. That's going to be our base for our cheese sauce. I got a pan here that I'm going to add a little bit of butter to. Just a little bit. A lot of people like to heat their pasta up in water. I like doing it in butter. Pasta's already cooked. So just we're going to let this slowly warm up in the butter. Our Alfredo bases come up to temperature. I'm going to add some of our cheeses. A whole lot of cheddar. A little bit of Parmesan Romano. And a little bit of Provel. And then what you want to do is pull that off the heat and mix in your cheese. You don't want it to get too hot so the cheese and the fat separate. So I'm going to add a little more cheddar to it. I'm going to turn that off. Let that do its thing. Pasta's heating up nice and slow. Not on super high heat. I'm just warming it up in some butter. This other pan here, we'll go with some more butter. Why not? We're going to saute the rock shrimp. Rock shrimp's going to take seconds because they're so small. And then we'll throw the king crab in there. Keep tossing your pasta. Cheese sauce. The cheese is almost fully incorporated. We'll let that relax. Butter's nice and hot. We're going to add the shrimp. This is going to cook super quick because they're so small. so we don't want to overcook them. Toss on the pasta, stir your cheese sauce. It's a process. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and then you go back again. Toss in your shrimp. See how they're starting to change color? Starting to turn red. Our pasta's getting nice and warm. Stir the sauce one more time. The cheese is almost fully melted. Shrimps, probably about 60% cooked. I'm gonna add the king crab. King crab's already cooked. One thing you want to watch out for, just double check, make sure there's no cartilage in there. I'm going to toss in the pasta. Cheese sauce is yum yum goodness. So we're going to add the cheese sauce to our mac and cheese. Just add it all in there. Why not? For those of you who don't remember when MTV used to actually play music, one of the themes was too much is never enough. So kind of think of that with your cheese sauce. Too much is never enough. It's nice. Cheese is melted. It's ooey gooey. Pasta swimming in that, bubbling away. Okay, our shrimp is fully cooked. We're going to turn the heat off on that. That's going to carry over, cook just a little bit, but it'll be awesome when we go to plate. So our cheese is nice and hot. Our pasta's nice and hot. We're going to turn that off. We have our shrimp here. Shrimp's cooked perfectly. King crab's warm through, so I'm going to move it over here and plate it real quick. And my spoon. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our pasta. Like I said, too much is never enough. You always want all that sauce. And then we're going to add our rock shrimp. Lots of rock shrimp. And then our king crab. Big nuggets of that Alaskan king crab goodness. You want to go over the top. Mac and cheese is rich, creamy, awesome comfort food. Why not add some of these super yum yums to it to make it over the top? Then we're not done yet. So you have the cheese sauce in there, just rich, creamy, good, sweet shrimp, sweet king crab. Then we're going to finish with a little bit of shrimp butter to throw it over the top. Why? Because we can. That's what we do at Steak 48. It's elevated comfort food. And then a little garnish of chive. King crab rock shrimp mac and cheese Steak 48. The next one we're going to do is our Steak 48 Brussels sprouts. Not super complicated. I have my Brussels sprouts already blanched. What does that mean? Blanching, we put them in some boiling salted water. The salt helps any green vegetable retain its color. It also imparts a little bit of seasoning on it, not a ton, but. So my pan here, we're going to start rendering down some bacon. And what that is, we're going to slowly cook that down. And that's going to get the fat out of the bacon. But the fat's going to leach out. Not super high heat. Don't want the bacon to burn. Once this starts to get crispy, then I'm going to add some butter in here and just a touch of olive oil. The olive oil is going to help increase the smoke point. Each fat will catch fire at a different temperature. So as this starts to render out, it's starting to crisp up a little bit. We have our Brussels on deck ready to go. The bacon's starting to get crisp. You can see the fat starting to come out. Now I'm going to add butter. and just a touch of olive oil. That'll help increase the smoke point of all the fats so we don't end up burning anything. And then what we're going to do with our Brussels, we're going to put them face down so we can start browning them. Bacon fat, butter, olive oil. Just awesomeness going on here. And what doesn't make any vegetable taste better? Fat! And then we're going to season with a little bit of salt. Some fresh black pepper. And you can hear them doing their thing. This is better than Snap, Crackle, Pop. If you guys remember that commercial from 80s, the decade that ruled. And while these Brussels are doing their thing, the bacon's still continuing to cook. The fat's rendering out. As you can see, it's starting to fill out more. The fat's starting to brown, which is going to give color to our Brussels. This is just a nice, happy place right now in this pan. So you're starting to get a little bit of color on the Brussels sprouts right there. That's what we're looking for. But you also don't want to overcook them either, so you blanch them for 30 seconds. They cooked a little bit, but mainly it's to help the green vegetables retain their color. You're going to finish doing it in the pan here. So right now we're kind of doing like a braise in beef fat, or bacon fat, butter, and olive oil. So we're starting to caramelize, which is nice. Starting to get some color, which is nice. Have to check them, make sure they're all going evenly. You don't want too much. You're not going for a charred vegetable. You just want a little bit of color on the Brussels. So now they've all got a little bit of color on it. So now we can start going into action. So we're going to give them a quick toss. Get them evenly coated. Bacon's nice and crisp, as you can see. Let's add a little bit more salt because we only seasoned the one side. A little bit of pepper. And then we're going to finish it with some chicken stock. Kind of like do that ending braise to finish them off. Okay, now that our Brussels sprouts are nice and cooked, we're going to go over and plate. Bacon, butter, Brussels. Get all the bacon, those caramelized, wilted, yum leaves of Brussels. And then you got all that bacon fat, butter, chicken stock, yum goodness. Why not add that? Because we don't want to waste anything here. Brussels sprouts with bacon and butter. Awesome. Here's our New York strip steak. It's rested for about 7-8 minutes. Normally at steak 48 we just go right onto a 500-degree plate, sizzling away. We did it with clarified butter and some parsley, and it comes out to your table, and it's awesome. Sounds great, looks great, tastes great. I'm just going to take this one and slice it real quick. We can go right in. The meat's rested. You see we're cutting into it. I mean, there's going to be a little bit of juice coming out of the steak, but if we were to do this right off the broiler, it would just bleed all over the place. So this is why you want to let your meat rest, because it'll cook, it'll rest, all the juices will stay inside there, and then you have a nice, tender, juicy steak. That's how we do it. I'm Chef Brian, exec chef, Steak 48 Chicago, 615 North Wabash. I want to thank you for joining us tonight. We showed you some of our favorites. We want you to come in and try some of these favorites, some of the others that we have on our menu. We're sitting here at one of the chef's tables. We have 4 available. They fill up quickly, so unless you have some pull, I'd suggest making your reservations in advance. 312-266-4848.